Hello, student developer here, and today we are learning how to find our entity list. Um, so to begin with, the find your entity list, you need to have your health value. If you don't know how to find your health value, please refer to one of my previous videos on uh, how to get goblin on any game, and in that video, I show you how to find your health address and apply infinite uh, infinite values to it, infinite just God mode to it, in other words. But if you understood that video on how to find your health address, then we can continue to find our entity list. So if you follow my previous tutorial, you would still have your health value. Now you may not have done it for Call of Duty Black Ops. You might have your health value for a different game. With that being said, what I do to find my entity list in this video, uh, it might be slightly different for you, and it may take longer. Definitely finding your entity list that could take take some time. So I want to try to make this as simplistic as possible and get straight to the point. So what you want to do is first let's attach the game. Quick, unfreeze this and put this back to regular. So what you want to do is first do a corner scan for this address. That's the first thing. Change the number of threads to 1. Change the max level to 1. That decreases the amount of results you get. So it doesn't take hours, 30 minutes. Just decreases the time. And we just wait. This doesn't point to. Maybe I should just use the default setting. Let's try this again. Try this one more time. If this doesn't work, then we'll use different. We'll have to. If we get 0 results on this one, then we'll have to find out what accesses that address, and then we'll have to pointer scan that address. If we get 0, which we probably will. Just have to wait and find out. Zero. Okay, so I'm gonna find out what accesses this address. So it's showing no results right now. So maybe we have to go into a game where our health is present in order for us to get results. So let's try that. Let's do that. Make sure your anti-cheat, Valve anti-cheat is disabled. If you don't know how to disable your anti-cheat, don't apply cheats to the game. It's pretty straightforward. The Call of Duty is a good game to start off with applying cheats. If you don't have money to pay for it, then user socket. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and start up the game. Okay. Now I want to try to do the pointer scan again. And if the pointer scan still shows 0 results, then we'll find out what accesses the address. And we'll go that route. So let's do another pointer scan. Number 4 is. There could be multiple reasons why it's giving me 0 results. One, this may not be the base address for the player for my health, which means I will have to redo or refine my health. But hopefully, I don't have to do that. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we have our results here. Now, I'm going to pre-warn you now. This here could take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, uh, so on and so forth. This is a very lengthy process. And maybe I'm choosing a difficult way to find the entity list, but this is the best way I understand finding the entity list. This is how I learned it. But I if this video turns out to be, you know, 20 minutes or 30 minutes long, that's because you literally have to go through each individual address, not each one, but common each like term one, each common one, until you find the the one that has all the entities stored inside of it. A lot of times the local player it only shows the local player address, which only shows your health, and then the entity list shows the enemy's health as well and allows you to modify it, which is how a lot of people create one hit kill in many games. They get the entity list that shows the uh, health value of the enemies and they change it. Now they use they create functions or create scripts in C++ to let that value go to all the enemies. But that's a little bit more complicated, and that's something for a different video. Sorry if I went on a little ramble, but I just figured I'd explain that to you guys. So we're going to add some values here, add some addresses, base addresses here. So we'll just start off with these, and we'll just go down a list. Now, what I like to do is to go into another session with one bot, and I like to keep searching until I find the base address for the enemy. And when I change it, or whenever I shoot the enemy, their health goes, which lets me know I have the entity list. I have the entity list. So we're gonna make this happen. Now, I'm teaching this or showing you guys this, but I'm also learning as well, which is why my channel name is Student Developer, because I'm always learning You know, you learn something new every day. Add one product. Let's go ahead and make this happen. While that loads, over on the cheat engine side, what you want to do is double click on your address and take this address here and copy it. And you want to add it manually here. Then you want to right click. You want to actually, you can either control B or manually go to browse memory option and browse this memory. Something's off. Hold on. There we go. Browse this memory. Now, like I said in my previous videos, actually, no, never mind. I was going to say this is hex, and you don't want to, you want to change the view type, but we're not going to be messing with this today. We're going to go to tools. We're going to dissect the data structure. We're going to define a new structure. You want your size to be 4096. Click OK. Now, what you want to do, you see these these headers here. These are headers. These are just the base. This doesn't open to anything. They're not pointing to anything. Therefore, they're not going to have subheaders. That explains that all in itself. Now, the offset that we're looking for is 0. This is 0, therefore we look for 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. So when we look in here, we just want to go through each pointer at a time until we find it. So here, 0. Don't see anything that could be useful to us. Now we see values changing. This could be the player's position, but we don't know. So more than likely, this isn't the header we want to be inside of. Now sometimes values can be sometimes pointers can be incorrect when displaying a value, and that's very common. It's not in here. Check this one more time. Let's check this one. Zero. Nothing in here. So let me do this. Let me spawn in. And now let me go back to here. Oops, it's not what I wanted. Here. Just keep going down the list until we find our health. So I don't think this one has our health in it. So we're just going to go ahead and close that out. Close this out. Delete this one. Delete. Yes. And delete this one. And go into the next one. So we're going to double click. Control C. Our offset for this one is 20. So we're going to remember that. 20. Add the address manually. And browse the memory region. Open the tool. Define new structure. Now we're going to look. What we're looking for in here is our enemy's health, not ours. If we find our health, that means that could be our base. If we only found our health and not our enemy's health, then that's our player, that's our local player, that's our base. But in this tutorial, we're looking for the entity list, which has my health and the enemy's health. That's what we're looking for. And we're looking for offset 20. This is 20. Now, these values here are changing. This could be the player position. I don't know. So let's confirm this. Let's hurt ourselves. Let's go over here. Do I have tack on? Let's see. Yeah, I have tack on. So let me hurt myself. If it doesn't affect my health, then it's probably the enemy's health. So this is our health. So let's scroll down and see if we find the enemy's health. It's very possible. Very possible. I think this is the enemy's health. So I'm going to change this value to 1. I'm going to change that value to 1. And you'll see why. If I go and shoot the player or shoot the bot, hold on. That shot back up to 100 because there's health regen in this game. So what I could do, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, it shot back up to 100. So what I'm going to do is add this to our address list. I'm going to minimize this here. And we're going to freeze this value at 1. So it's frozen at 1. So now, what we're going to do is shoot the bot. And if he dies in 1 shot, then we found it. Let's see. Yep. He dropped with 1 shot. So this is our player's local, or this is our enemy's local player. Our enemy's base address. Even though this is a bot, if it was a real person in here, it would be the same thing. It would be the same thing. See, look. 1 shot. So this is 2 tutorials in 1. If you wanted to figure out how to, create a 1-shot or 1-shot kill, that this is how you do it. You have to find your enemy's entity, and you want to change their health to a constant of 1, a constant int of 1, and create a program that loops through all the enemies on the other team, or on the opposite team as you. Then you can create a 1-shot or instant kill for a full server. But in order for you to do that, you have to be the host of that server. And you have to have, bypass anti-cheat. So, getting off topic here. That is our bots. That is our enemy's player address, which means we found our entity list. We found our entity. So you can, I guess we can put, no. We're going to name this address. I probably spelled that way wrong. I'm going to do it again. If I spelled it wrong, oh well. So this is our entity list. That's our entity. Because it has our enemy's value, our enemy's health stored in there along with ours. Which means if this was a full server of, let's say, 18, 12, any numbers, this is it's all stored in here, just your entity. You can do the same for weapons as well. Like if you wanted to find, different weapons, what different weapons are called, you do the same thing. It's the same process. It might take a little while, but you'll figure it out. So that pretty much sums it up. If you want to make a one-shot kill, you just find the enemy's health, make it a constant integer of 1, which means it will not change. And you find them and shoot them one time, and if they drop one bullet, boom, you have instant kill. One shot. Then you can go and troll all your friends and have a pistol war, you know, or whatever game you decide to play, and I just think you're super good.
Enemy spy plane incoming. Spy plane standing by.
So I'll show you this one last time, and then I'll go ahead and end the video. There. It's a one shot. So yeah, that's how you find your entity list. Now, if you want to find your local player or your local player base address, you will want to do the same thing, except you want to search for a result, a pointer scan result that doesn't have your enemies stored inside of it. Now, I could be wrong, which there's a slight chance I could be, but I'm almost certain that if it doesn't have your enemy's health in there or any other objects in there, entities in there, that is your base address. That is your player's base address. And you're probably wondering, well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, if you wanted to create an ESP or an aimbot, you need that address. That is something that you need. It is essential. So that is how you find your entity list. Now this applies to any game. I'm not going to say this works for every game, because some games are so encrypted, you know, it could take hours to find an entity list, literally hours, you know. So for an older game, if you're playing an offline game, something like that, you know, this is how you find entities. Hopefully, this is simplistic enough for beginners, because I'm also learning as well as you guys are. So this concludes this video. I discussed how to find your entity list. This is Software Developer, and I'm out.